It is Election Day. Polls are open in states across the country. All eyes are on two governor races, the first major election since President Biden defeated former President Trump in 2020. The first race is in Virginia, where former Democratic Governor Terry McAuliffe and Republican businessman Glenn Youngkin are neck and neck in the polls. The race is considered a bellwether for next year's midterm races. The second is in New Jersey, where Governor Phil Murphy hopes to defy the odds and become the first incumbent Democrat to be reelected since 1977. Murphy faces off against former Republican Assemblyman Jack Ciattarelli. For more on the Virginia race, I want to bring in Jamelle Bouie and Doug Heye. Jamelle is a CBS News political analyst and opinion columnist for the New York Times, and Doug is a former Republican National Committee communications director. Welcome to both of you. Jamelle, let me start with you. What do we know about early voting in Virginia, and ultimately, is this race going to come down to turnout?
So this is the only the second election cycle in Virginia where you've had this sort of large-scale early voting. And so right now, last I checked, there are about 1.1 million votes already cast before Election Day. And those are going about 2-for-1 for McAuliffe. But of course, today, it's expected that Republicans will turn out on Election Day itself. And so it's sort of difficult to say at this stage what that means for the results. You know, I feel like John Madden, saying, oh, it's all going to be about turnout. Mm-hmm. But it really is all going to be about turnout. If you do a quick calculation, if you look at every single county and give Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, either Romney's 2012 results, if they're good, or Trump's 2020 results, if they're good, and if you give it set it for 2020 turnout, so you're basically giving Youngkin the best possible outcome in every county, you get a tied race. And so right. It's, the cliche is always that it's going to be a photo finish. Again, it's all up to turnout. But it's very clear that in this race, it is all up to turnout. And it's very difficult to say at this point who's going to pull it out.
And Doug, it's not an exaggeration to say there are national eyes on this race for many reasons, which we'll get into. But former President Trump had a closed press tele-rally for Youngkin last night. A Washington Post reporter claims he phoned in for about 5 minutes. What more do you know about the tele-rally, and how much of an impact do you think it will have on voters?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't pay much attention to it. We know what Donald Trump was going to do. He wanted to do something so that if Glenn Youngkin wins, he can claim credit. And he wants to do just enough, but not too much, so that if Glenn Youngkin loses, Trump's able to say, well, look, this loser didn't embrace me enough, and that's why he lost. Either way, he gets to claim the credit or deflect the blame however he wants to. It's about Donald Trump being Donald Trump, not about turning out vote.
It's the Goldilocks effect, right? Not too much, not too little. All right. So, of course, as I mentioned earlier, this race in Virginia is being viewed as a referendum on the Biden presidency and, of course, some sort of predictor as to perhaps what is to come for the elections down the road. Jamelle, what does this race mean for Democrats? And will the results in Virginia and even in New Jersey have an impact on former President Trump's decision to run again in 2024? And Doug, after Jamelle responds, I'd love to hear your take.
So I'm a lifelong Virginian, more or less. I've been following Virginia politics my whole life. And one thing that is true about these off-year elections is that they often don't really say anything about what comes in the next year's midterms, especially in a circumstance like this, where you have, a president of one party and a Congress of one party and the governorship belonging to one party. Typically, Virginia will just go in the other direction as kind of a matter of course, or sort of a pendulum swing. And that rarely has, again, any impact on the next year's elections. Now, recent elections may suggest the opposite, right? In 2009, Republicans won big in the statewide. And then, of course, in 2010, there was a big wave. And then in 2013, Democrats won big statewide, but Republicans won big in the next year's midterms. I don't necessarily know what's going to be the actual implications of this race for sort of Democrats nationwide, but I suspect that Democrats will nonetheless forge a narrative out of it. And the narrative they'll forge is that dysfunction in Washington, the slow pace of change in Washington didn't reflect well on their gubernatorial candidate in Virginia.
All right, Doug, what's your take?
I was at the RNC in 2010 when we took over the House. And part of what really galvanized Republicans were those wins in Virginia and in New Jersey. And I think New Jersey will be closer than most people thought it would maybe a few weeks ago. I was in New Jersey 2 weekends ago, and a Democrat told me, we'll win, but it'll be close. We always overinterpret what a particular election may mean for the next election. I think, but the reality is here, when I was at the RNC in 2010, our magic number for Barack Obama was 46%. We felt that if Obama was at or below that, we'd take back the House. And he was ultimately 45% going into Election Day. Joe Biden's well beyond that, or well below that. And we know that the Democratic base is demoralized. There's not a lot for them to campaign on, really, when you look at all the issues that are challenging this administration and Democrats, from the economy to inflation to school openings, which has certainly benefited Glenn Youngkin, also crime and safety. All of these things are really benefiting Republicans right now. It's too soon to say that they'll definitely take back the House, but they're certainly primed in a position to do so.
Interesting. All right. So, Jamelle, I also want to ask you about that piece you wrote for the New York Times on constitutional change. Is it time for us to take a good hard look at that, governing document and at least consider some changes?
Yeah, I'm a firm believer that, yes, we should. It's been about nearly half a century since we've had any kind of constitutional amendment. We have not had any new states. And even longer. And that's an unusual circumstance to be in. Typically in the United States, or at least over the course of our history, we go through these periods of at least constitutional and structural change every so often, and we just really haven't seen it. And so I do think that it is worth talking about constitutional change, talking about the things we think, the ways in which we think our Constitution isn't fitting our country as it exists, and what we can do maybe to change that. And the piece I wrote.
Give me some quick examples of the areas.
Right.
Sorry,
okay,
give me some quick examples of the areas.
An example, one area is just the structure of the Senate, right? In the Constitution, the Senate, every state gets equal representation in the Senate, 2 senators per state. But in 1788, when the Constitution was ratified, the population differential between the smallest state and the largest state was, times 10, times 13. Big, but not sort of overwhelming. And I should say that even at the time, that was considered to be unacceptable, and that the equal state representation was a hard-fought compromise on part of states who wanted it. But today, of course, the population differential between large and small is, times 60, times 70. If you are a voter in Wyoming, you have tremendously more voting power than a voter in California. Now, there are arguments for why this is the way we should do it, that this makes sense, that we're a federal nation, et cetera, et cetera. But I think it's something that's worth debating and worth considering for the simple reason that the disparity is going to get worse. And we don't actually know what our democracy will look like, how people will understand themselves within our democracy if 20 years down the road, to be a resident in California, which will likely be about 1 in 8 Americans, is to have vastly diminished power compared to any of your fellow citizens.
Yeah, the question, how long the center will hold if the ends become so extreme. Interesting perspective. Jamelle Bouie and Doug Heye, thanks to both of you for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.